Well, actually, I'm disappointed by the sentence. I do not think it's reflective of the magnitude of the atrocities and the responsibility that was at play here. I mean, if you think about the thousands of lives that were lost based on his instruction and his command, to me, it would have been more appropriate for a life sentence. Now, while 40 years may be effectively life given his age, I think it was important, or it should have been important, to send a strong signal to not only the region but the international community that the punishment will be firm for these type of atrocities. And that's part of the sad history of this. It's been over 20 years that people have been waiting for justice. So while it's important that we have the accountability, it's important that there is a recognition of the wrong. I'm not sure how much of an impact at this stage it will have for the day-to-day lives of the affected people, the survivors and the and victims. Well, I think, one of the things that we, the international community and the region, needs to look at is what is the future of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and particularly when you look at the Serb Republic and some of the divisions that continue to exist. We really need to double our efforts to find a resolution, if you will, so that people can not only live in peace but live without fear. So the fact that this was an event that occurred, 20 years ago, does not diminish the fact that we are still in the aftermath and there's still a lot of work to be done. Well, I think the missing link is we have to get past the ethnic, division that continues to exist. And in a way, the international community, with the way it was structured under the UN administration, added to the problem by continuing to have separate groups, separate presidencies, and so forth. So I think what really needs to happen going forward is we need to find a way to unify the people as one nation. Now, that does not mean that you forget your ethnic heritage or cultural beliefs, and I'm not advocating that. But we need to look at a system. We're building a system that allows the country to advance and advance as a unified country, regardless of ethnicity or origin. Well, that's the difficult question that needs to be answered. But I think it starts with just basic structural governance that's at play, and I think we need to find a way to build into the system a method that allows the best person to prevail and to advance into governance, and have someone that actually cares about the future of the country and unifying the people, rather than securing benefits for their particular group. Yeah, and I agree. It doesn't seem that it's happening, and there's been periods, as we know, that have been tense or continue to be tense. And I think, again, as long as we, globally, and I don't mean just for Bosnia, but the international community, continue to support a divided system, then you'll have a divided society. So we need to really do the hard diplomatic, political lifting to begin to break these barriers, to break these walls, so that the society, the country, can move forward. And there will be some difficult decisions. We have to look at the Republic of Srpska to decide how will we advance. I mean, is it to stay intact the way it currently is? You have to look at other questions that are out there. But I think what we, the international community, need to do, Europe needs to do, is to refocus its attention on this issue and provide all the support that is possible. Otherwise, we could easily find ourselves in a situation years from now where we're back in some tense conflict with the loss of lives. Well, I think the role of the United States needs to be a critical and important one. We know just from the past 20 years that it's the United States that exercised leadership to help bring a resolution in the area. We know that Europe sat back and watched idly, unfortunately, as you had some of these abuses and massacres, and were reluctant to forcefully get involved. So I think the United States needs to play a leadership role. I believe it's in our interest. It's in our interest to have a not only a stable region, but a stable Europe. It's in our interest to see the states in the region advance and become, strong and responsible states in the global community. So I would be advocating that the United States play a firm and critical role. Well, I think the lesson is that perpetrators of abuse, genocide, crimes against humanity must be brought to justice and are held accountable in whatever mean that may be. Unfortunately, what's happening today, we're watching as there are abuses occurring, there's acts of terrorism, people being killed, raped, and the international community is shrugging its shoulders, saying, oh boy, this is terrible, but we're not really doing anything about it. I think for the sake of humanity, today allows us to pause, reflect, remember what inaction can result in. And if we do embrace the reality of the past, then hopefully it will dictate policy going forward that will allow us to take early action when needed to prevent from these abuses to rise to the level of a genocide, crimes against humanity, or war crimes. Yeah, please do. And thank you for having me. And it is an important day. I'm glad to see that finally he has been brought to justice. As you know, it's been a long road for the victims, the survivors, but in a way also a long road for me. I was pushing justice in this matter for a long time, so it's nice to see that we are here.